So you know that feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're sitting in class, professor asks something, and boom, the answer just pops into your head. It's brilliant. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
But then instantly, it's like this internal alarm goes off. What if I'm wrong? What if I sound stupid? Everyone's going to look. And your hand just stays down. Your mouth stays shut.
Yeah.
And then someone else says the exact same thing you were thinking
Mm-hmm.
just moments later. Or, okay, picture being at a party, maybe, or some campus event.
Okay.
You see a group chatting, laughing, you kind of want to join in, but you feel like glued to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
That same voice pops up.
Mm.
They all know each other. You'll be awkward. What would you even say?
It's that paralysis, isn't it? That fear of just being seen, being judged. It's a really common internal monologue.
Exactly. So familiar.
It really is. And that whole internal debate, it's not just, a quirk. It's actually the heart of social anxiety.
Yeah.
It's this really deep fear of being judged negatively. And it often feels like some kind of personal feeling.
Right.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this really practical guide focused on building real confidence and maybe more importantly, tackling that social anxiety head on.
Okay.
Our mission really is to unpack this idea that confidence, it's not something you're just like born with. It's not a fixed trait. It's actually a skill, something you can learn.
A skill. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to explore how you can learn to navigate those tricky situations with, well, a bit more ease and maybe even feel more like yourself while doing it.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that right away.
Yeah.
Because the first big myth we absolutely have to bust is that, one, the idea that some people are just born confident. They just walk into a room and own it.
Right, effortless charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the source material we're looking at today, it's super clear. Confidence is a skill, like learning guitar or, coding. It takes understanding. It takes practice. And yeah, some smart strategies.
Yeah.
So how do we even start chipping away at that feeling when it feels so baked in, almost part of who we are?
Well, what's really fascinating here, and this is key, is that social anxiety isn't usually about just being shy, or introverted. At its root, it's this profound fear of negative judgment.
Right.
It's the belief that you're constantly being watched, evaluated, and probably coming up short. And a big part of this is fueled by something our source calls the spotlight effect.
The spotlight effect. Tell me more about that.
Think of it like this. We often feel like we're walking around with this giant imaginary spotlight pointed right at us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, highlighting every little mistake, every awkward pause, every time we, stumble over a word. It's like everything we do is magnified. It sounds exhausting, right?
Totally draining, just feeling like you're constantly under that microscope. But is that spotlight even real? I mean, are people really watching that closely?
And that's the crucial point. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the reality is that spotlight, it's almost entirely in our own heads. Yeah. People are way more wrapped up in their own lives, their own worries, their own internal spotlights. They just don't have the bandwidth to scrutinize us the way our anxiety convinces us they do.
Okay, that makes sense.
Think about it like this. Remember the last time you saw someone maybe trip slightly walking down the hall? Or give a presentation where they seemed a bit nervous?
Sure.
How long did you actually think about it afterwards? Like 5 seconds? 10 seconds, maybe?
Yeah, probably not long at all. You just move on.
Exactly. But if that had been you who tripped or you who felt nervous presenting, oh man, you might replay that tiny moment for days, maybe even weeks, right? Analyzing everything.
Oh, absolutely. Cringing internally for ages.
Right. So that huge difference in perception, it dramatically lowers the stakes. It shows you're just not the center of everyone else's universe, even though your anxiety screams that you are. Our brains just naturally overemphasize our own experience.
That's a really powerful reframe. And this fear, this perceived spotlight, it sounds like it creates this awful loop. Our sources talk about a cycle, right?
Yeah, a really vicious self-perpetuating cycle. There are basically 3 stages they highlight.
Yeah.
First, there's the anticipatory anxiety. That's where you spend days, maybe weeks, just dreading an upcoming social thing like a party or that presentation.
The pre-worry. I know that one.
Totally. Then, during the event itself, you get hit with fear and avoidance. You're either so busy checking yourself, am I blushing? Did I sound okay?
Yeah.
That you can't actually be present, or you just find ways to avoid the situation completely.
Right. Hide in the corner or just not go.
Exactly. And then afterwards, stage 3 kicks in. post-event rumination. That's where you mentally replay every single thing you think you did wrong.
Oh, the mental highlight reel of awkwardness.
Precisely. And all that rumination just reinforces the belief that you're socially awkward or incompetent. It feeds right back into the anticipatory anxiety for next time. It's a tough loop.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly hard to break out of because you miss out on any chance for positive feedback or even just the practice. Right?
Yeah. That's exactly it. You avoid or you're too self-conscious to engage properly, so you never get the experiences that could actually challenge those negative beliefs. You don't learn.
So where does that leave us? What's the way out?
Well, this raises an important question, right? What does this all mean for actually doing something about it? The guide suggests a two-pronged approach. First, you've got to do the inner work. Change your relationship with yourself.
Okay, the internal stuff first.
Right. And then using that stronger internal foundation, you start taking small, manageable, courageous steps out in the real world, the external game.
That makes sense. You can't really build confidence on shaky ground, on self-criticism. Our source really emphasizes that you got to get comfortable in your own head before you can be comfortable with others.
Exactly.
But it's not just about like chanting positive affirmations in the mirror, is it? It sounds deeper than that, like actually rewiring how you talk to yourself.
Precisely. It's about shifting that internal monologue from being a harsh critic to being more of a supportive coach.
That sounds challenging. That inner critic can be pretty loud and persistent. How do you even start?
It feels big, but it breaks down into steps. Let's dive into some strategies for that inner game. First up, trade your inner critic for an inner coach.
Okay. Inner critic versus inner coach.
Yeah. So the inner critic, you know that voice. The one that jumps on every mistake. Ugh, you're so stupid for saying that. You totally bombed that.
Oh, yeah. Very familiar.
It often thinks it's helping, like it's protecting you from future embarrassment. But really, it's like this overzealous, kind of mean security guard shouting warnings that are mostly false alarms.
Ah, okay. I like that analogy.
An inner coach, though, is different. It's a voice of encouragement, of reason. It helps you learn, helps you grow.
So how do you cultivate that coach voice?
The simplest way, and this is really powerful, is to ask yourself one question when you mess up or feel anxious. What would I say to a good friend right now?
Ah.
Think about it. If your friend gave a presentation and was clearly nervous, you wouldn't tear them down, right? You wouldn't say, wow, you're a total failure.
No way. I'd be like, hey, that was tough, but you did it. Public speaking is hard. I'm proud of you. What did you learn? Something like that.
Exactly. So the practice is consciously applying that same standard of kindness, that same supportive tone to yourself. It's about self-compassion.
Right.
And self-compassion isn't about being lazy or making excuses. It's about creating the psychological safety you need to actually learn from experiences instead of just being crushed by them.
Being a friend to yourself, that really clicks. We're often so much harder on ourselves. But how do you get your brain to actually believe this kinder voice over the old critical habit? Does it stick?
That's where the second strategy comes in, and it directly addresses that skepticism. It's build an evidence log of your competence.
An evidence log? What's that?
Okay, so confidence at its heart is belief in your ability to handle things, right?
Yeah.
Well, like any belief, it needs evidence, proof. The problem is your anxious brain is like a biased prosecutor. It's amazing at collecting evidence of failures and totally ignores or forgets the successes.
Huh. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Negative stuff sticks.
It really does. Our brains are kind of wired for a negativity bias, so your job is to become a more balanced detective. The guide suggests actively keeping a running list, maybe in a notebook, maybe just a note on your phone, of your small wins.
Small wins, like what?
And I mean small. This isn't about huge achievements. Did you manage to contribute one decent idea in a brainstorming meeting? Even if you were nervous, write it down.
Okay.
Did you finally slog through that difficult chapter for class you'd been putting off? Log it. Did you handle a slightly awkward conversation with your roommate pretty well? That counts. Made someone genuinely laugh. Definitely put that in.
So everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Not just big medals.
Exactly. The power comes from reviewing this log. When that inner critic starts whispering, see, you're useless, you can look at this list and have concrete, undeniable proof that actually you are capable, you are resilient, you do manage things all the time. It's a direct counterargument.
That sounds incredibly practical.
Right.
Like building a case file against your own self-doubt. What's a hurdle people might face starting that?
A big one is dismissing the wins. Thinking, oh, that doesn't count, it was too small. Or anyone could have done that.
Right, minimizing the positives.
Yeah. The key is to just record it anyway. Consistency matters more than the size of the win. And that brings us nicely to the third inner game strategy. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
It's detach your worth from your performance. This is huge, especially in places like college or early in your career where everything feels like a competition.
Grades, status.
Exactly. It's so easy to fuse your entire sense of self-worth to those external things, grades, how popular you are, job titles, whatever. But our source points out that's a really fragile way to live. Your self-esteem goes on a roller coaster based on outside events.
That sounds stressful.
Totally. So, for example, getting a bad grade on one test doesn't mean you are a failure. It means you struggled with that specific test on that specific day.
Okay. Separating the event from the identity.
Precisely. Or if someone doesn't text you back right away, it doesn't automatically mean you are unlikable or boring. Maybe they're just busy or their phone died or a million other things.
Right. Not making it all about you.
Yeah. The practical tip here is about language. Notice when you use I am statements based on temporary states. Instead of thinking, I am awkward, try shifting to, I felt awkward in that situation.
Oh, that's subtle but powerful.
It really is. Instead of, I'm a bad student, it's, I got a bad grade on that paper. See the difference? It changes a fixed identity, I am, into a temporary state or experience I felt I got.
Yeah, it creates space.
Yeah.
It's something that happened, not who you fundamentally are.
Exactly. And that space gives you power. If it's a state, you can influence it. If it's who you are, well, that feels much harder to change, doesn't it?
Wow, okay. That distinction feels really important. So let's say you've been working on this inner game, being kinder, logging wins, detaching worth. Now you're feeling a bit more solid internally. How do you translate that into facing those external situations? The guide mentions small, courageous steps.
Right. With that stronger inner foundation, you're better equipped for the outer game. And the key really is small steps, manageable acts of courage. Don't try to conquer your biggest fear on day one.
Okay, so where's a good place to start? What about something really common like class presentations? That's a huge anxiety trigger for so many people.
Absolutely. For many, that's like the final boss of social anxiety. So let's look at conquering the class presentation. Our source has some great actionable tips. First one, prepare your first 30 seconds cold.
Memorize the opening.
Yeah, just the first few lines. Get them down, Pat. Why? Because the beginning is often the peak anxiety point. If you nail the start, you get a little boost of confidence, maybe some positive feedback like nodding heads, and it creates this positive momentum. It can actually calm your nerves for the rest of it.
Okay, that makes sense. Get over the initial hump.
Yeah.
What else? Besides memorizing the intro.
Second, and this builds on that internal shift we talked about, focus on your message, not your fear. Try to change your internal goal. Instead of, oh God, I hope I don't look nervous, reframe it as, my goal is to make sure the audience understands this key point about, say, photosynthesis.
Become the messenger, not the performer.
Exactly. You're a channel for the information. It takes the focus off you and puts it onto the content. That feels less scary, less like you're being judged as a person.
I like that. What else?
Third, find your friendly faces. When you're up there, quickly scan the room. Look for one or two people who seem engaged, maybe nodding slightly, or just have a pleasant expression.
Zone in on the non-scary ones.
Pretty much. Make eye contact mostly with them. It tricks your brain into feeling like you're having more of a one-on-one conversation, which is usually way less intimidating than talking to a big, anonymous crowd.
Smart.
Yeah?
Any other presentation tips?
Yes, a crucial one. Embrace the power of the pause. This is huge. When you feel your heart racing, your thoughts scattering, or your mind just goes blank, which, by the way, happens to everyone, even experienced speakers.
Right.
Just stop. Pause. Take a slow, deliberate breath. Look down at your notes. Take a sip of water. Now, to you, that pause might feel like an agonizing eternity.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels like forever.
But to the audience, it almost always looks like you're just pausing thoughtfully, composed, collecting your thoughts. It actually projects confidence. Even if you're paddling furiously underneath, don't be afraid to pause.
Okay, wow. Those are all super practical things you can actually do. What about less formal stuff? Just everyday social situations, mingling, joining conversations, that kind of thing.
Great question. For navigating those more fluid social situations, the first big strategy is to adopt a mindset of curiosity.
Curiosity, how does that help?
Well, social anxiety tends to make us incredibly self-focused, right? We're constantly monitoring ourselves, worrying how we're coming across.
Totally. Are they judging my shoes?
Yeah.
Was that joke dumb?
Exactly. Curiosity flips that script. Go into a social setting with the genuine goal of learning something interesting about other people. Instead of the internal monologue being, what did they think of me? Yeah, try shifting it to, I wonder what their story is. Or what are they passionate about?
Become an interviewer, almost.
Sort of. You can even prep a couple of easy, open-ended questions. Things like, what's been the coolest thing you've learned in a class recently? Or working on any interesting personal projects. It takes the pressure off you to be fascinating and makes you a good listener, which, ironically, people find really engaging.
That's clever. Turn the attention outward. How do you practice that without jumping into like a huge networking event?
Exactly. That leads to the next tip. Start with low-stakes interactions. Don't make your first practice run a high-pressure situation. Build that social muscle gradually with small reps.
Small reps. Like what?
Our source suggests really small things, like making brief eye contact and offering a small smile to someone you pass regularly on campus. Just acknowledging them.
Okay, super low risk.
Totally. Or, when you order coffee, ask the barista genuinely how their day is going, beyond just placing your order. Or give a simple, sincere compliment to a classmate. Hey, cool backpack. Or, I liked your point in class today.
Tiny interactions.
Tiny interactions, they're low risk, high reward in terms of building evidence for your brain that, hey, connecting with people can actually be okay, even pleasant. They prove it's safe, little by little. Builds momentum.
Okay, that makes sense. Build up gradually. Is there anything else for navigating those social scenes?
One last crucial one. Have an exit strategy. Seriously. A lot of the fear around social events comes from feeling trapped, like you have to stay for hours even if you're miserable.
Oh yeah, that feeling of being stuck.
So give yourself explicit permission to leave. Before you even go, tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go to this thing for, say, 30 minutes. If I'm really not feeling it after 30 minutes, I have full permission to just politely excuse myself and go home. No guilt.
Giving yourself an out.
Exactly. Just knowing you can leave makes walking in the door infinitely easier. And the funny thing is, often once you're there and you've given yourself that freedom, you might find you relax a bit and end up staying longer because you actually want to. But having the out is key.
This whole deep dive has really painted a picture, hasn't it? That building confidence, tackling social anxiety, it's definitely not a magic bullet or a one-time fix.
No, not at all.
It really is a practice, a continuous effort. It's about, like you said, being that kinder coach, actively looking for proof of your own strengths, taking those small, calculated risks, and slowly realizing you're way more resilient than the anxiety lets you believe.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the journey is really made up of all these tiny steps, right? Each one, however small, moves you out from under the shadow of that harsh imaginary spotlight and more into the, I guess, the warm, real light of who you actually are and what you're capable of. It's about reclaiming that space.
That's a great way to put it.
So this does raise an important question for you, listening right now. Thinking about everything we've discussed, what's just one tiny, super low-stakes step you could maybe take today or tomorrow just to practice a little bit of that courage? Just one small thing to move you a tiny bit closer to showing up as your authentic self.